I was born in a Christian family and my parents tried hard to teach us the way of the Lord. My problem is that I was not interested in the way of God. I grew up in a borough where youngsters were deeply in music and fashion. During my youth I followed many ways of life. I even became a musician thanks to my big brother who was in a popular band of the city. When a friend of mine became a DJ we went to support him in the bar where we were celebrating. Back then I was nicknamed Son of Satan. I was called that way because I did not want to serve God. We were in the bar drinking and Franco music was playing. I love the song so much that I paid so that the song will be replayed. It is when my friend was sleeping and when I began to sleep in the bar, that suddenly I heard a voice saying to me, "My son Aston, you are a Christian, this is not your life." I looked at the person who was talking and I saw a man dressed in white walking through space with an appearance of crystal. His eyes were like fire and his voice like the roar of great waters. He shone like polished brass. My dear brothers and sisters, believing it was a dream not reality, I asked my friends about the person I saw in space. Unfortunately for them they thought it was drunkenness that made me talk. I tried to get them to see the Lord, as nobody could believe me. I said to this character, "I am not a Christian and I cannot be." Dear friends, I was part of the society of ambiancers and elegant people. I said to this man who shone, "I believe in the doctrine of fashion and elegance. There is no place for you." He persisted and said, "You are a Christian and that's not your life." When he raised his voice I couldn't resist, wanting to get up. I don't know what happened and found myself outside. It was then that fear gripped me and realized that it was a divine being whom I encountered, and through this, the knowledge of spiritual beings came to me. The world is not limited. I remember that my mother was interceding and crying in prayer for my conversion and she was sowing seed all the time for the salvation of my soul. Often when we were doing music practice she would turn up and kneel down and tell me, "This is not your life, you will serve God. Not even a small voice of yours will be heard in secular music." As a result of her declaration, every time we went to studios my voice had problem and I could not sing. Parent must intercede for their children and put God words in them. When I got home I was like crazy, talking to myself along the way, saying, "Lord, if you want me to become a Christian then I will keep my way of life while going to church." That's how I got home and prayed all night, confessing and repenting from all my sins. That same night all heathen language disappeared. I began to utter healthy words. In the morning my friends, having come, didn't believe it was me with my new posture. Nobody believed in my new conversion, but when we meet Jesus life changes because he is the only one who can transform the identity of a person. My early Christian life was not easy. There were so many problems that I faced, such as health, etc. Throughout my journey I had small visions and a voice accompanied them to signify me. The great experience will begin a year after I was established by God as a prophet of the Sacred Church Chapel of God, and this is the beginning of the journey of the mysteries. This is how things went. On March 27, 2013 I was praying and I felt a light radiate in the audience. Out of curiosity, in wanting to watch, I fell into ecstasy and heard a voice that called me and said, "My son, know that you have been chosen by God to bear witness of the things of which thou shalt see. You and me, we are going to do a trip to hell for you to write and witness to the world. This place actually exists. You will save many men from ignorance of darkness so that those who perish may return to knowledge of the truth. Your questioning will be certain. You will say that hell is not an illusion. Thousands and millions of souls are there. You will see a terrible punishment for those who have voluntarily chosen the path of bewilderment. These things will remain etched in your heart." During this time, I thought it was a dream and I said to myself, "What is that great vision?" I opened my eyes after I got up. I was surprised to see my body in two, one lying down and the other stands beside. I could not understand and imagine such thing. I had to rub my eyes to see if it was a dream or it was a reality. For this purpose, I started to touch the body which was lying down, but it was impossible. Everything accessible has become untouchable to me. There was no way to touch the materials world. But despite this state, I had all my senses. I felt fear. I saw people sleeping, trying to touch and make them wake up, but in vain because they could not hear me or feel me. I tried to open the door without success, and I immediately found myself outside screaming for help, but no one listened to my voice. When I was in the complex, I found myself headed into the next house trying to wake them up, but to no avail. I had no more contact between all that is material. Certainly I could listen to what people say, but they could not listen to me. Oh beloved, what are you waiting for? One day you may find yourself in this state. And it might be too late. John 3:16. I had a spiritual form. Job 32:8. So I was wandering asking for help, and no one was listening because it was late. All this was happening in the spirit because my body had remained lying at home. In the alleys I saw people running here and there, shouting, "Why did you bury me? I'm not dead." I saw a small child cry out the name of his father and his mother for the burial of his body. He claimed to be still alive though dead. I was amazed. Approaching the child to inquire, I asked him the question to know what was going on. He said to me, "I had fallen ill and afterwards my parents went to bury my body, and since then I don't have a place to reside." He continued on his way at an incredible speed, remaining on place, amazed that a person could live after death. In continuing my journey, I did not know where to go. It was then that I met a girl sitting on a portal. She too had the same story as this child. I told the girl, "If you're dead, it's not the case for me, I live again." But deep inside I felt that there was something wrong. Nothing was precious to me except getting into my usual body. I also continued on my way, but strange thing, there were houses which were covered with fire. In front of the doors and windows were flaming swords for protection. There were also legions of angels at the top of the houses of the saints. They were protected by angels of God, who are composed of those who assume the defense and the others. The wizards could not pass over. Obadiah 1 verses 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. The other houses also had fire, but the doors and windows were open, the sorcerers could enter. Then I heard a voice telling me that these Christians have committed sins. When there are disputes and quarrels in your houses, disharmony, children do not obey their parent, you watch unhealthy things on television, all this gives access to the enemy, and the angels will not be able to secure your homes. Let us keep our holy houses. There were also houses that had no roof or window, not even a door, similar to a building site. Wizards had free access as they entered and left peacefully. These are houses where sins dominate and evil controls. Many are landmarks of wicked spirits. Revelation 18 verse 2, fallen. Babylon the Great has fallen. She has become a home for demons, a prison for every unclean spirit. I said to myself, in the existence of men I have never seen what I am experiencing. I did not give up the hope of finding my body. The idea of going back to my family was born in my heart. As soon as I arrived, I tried to wake my parents, my brothers and sisters, but in vain, because none of them could listen to my voice. As before, I was again on the street again. I saw souls mourning their beloved for the burial of their bodies. I took the direction of the bypass road which took me to the interchange, and I met a famous gospel singer who died long ago. He was screaming aloud, "I am not dead, why did you bury me? I have now become a wandering spirit and I have no place to go." I was stunned to see this singer, and I began to call him to talk to him about what I was experiencing, but he was running in great speed. He said, "Oh, what is my fate? I had everything in the world, I had money and I had the possibility to travel everywhere. Woe to me, I have played with God. Woe to me, how will I end? Where will I go since they had buried my body? I had so much consideration." This was a respected minister, but when I saw him crying and complaining that he had no place to go, I felt I was in trouble. If a great man like him was in such confusion and hopelessness, I knew that I was in trouble. Since I was confused and I was looking for help, I kept following him. Maybe he would advise me what to do to return in my body. When I reached him, I told him, "Man of God, please help, I want to return in my body." He looked at me and exclaimed, "Oh, I have played with God. I had everything in life and travel opportunity, but today I am in this situation where I am dead. They had buried my body. I don't know where to go." I made fun of God. The glory, the wealth, I got them without thinking of my soul. He was so much hopeless and in confusion that he continued his journey running all over the city. I said, "Oh God, even him, such a man that shook the country with his song, really I am doomed and finish." Matthew 16:29. Your soul is more precious, it is more important. People are fighting for marriage, for wealth and possession. But vanity upon vanity and pursuit of the wind. Stunned, I didn't know what to do. Who could help me? My brothers, dear friends, we know that after death man goes to his judgment. Hebrews 9 verse 27. And inasmuch as it is appointed unto men once to die, and after this judgment, but several dead people we think have left the earth still live among us. It was then that I continued my journey to a church at 17th Street, well known in the country, and I ran into the enclosure for rest. Inside the church on the podium there was a human skull spitting blood. To my surprise there were souls bound in chains sitting on the floor. These people were guarded by soldiers that were 4 meters long. These soldiers were holding javelin and they were cold-blooded. They were keeping these souls. I tried to talk to these souls that were in bondage. I saw that they were crying. Quickly I heard the voice of the Lord telling me, not all churches are good, not all churches are churches of God. There are people that are bound in chains because of churches that they attend. Many people have their souls captured because of churches they attend. That is why many people are not seeing the hand of God, because they are bound where they go to pray. They will always wonder and they will cry. If you stay in this church you will be captured like these souls that you see in bondage. But I questioned these souls to find out why are they bound and who bound them in this way. The first did not answer me, so I came to understand though it is a church community that has congregations all over the world, all those who go to pray there are doomed. My eyes could still see demons dressed in military attire standing and guard souls of these members that were in chains. These demons were holding pitchforks. When they saw me, they were disturbed and they wanted at all costs to know what was the purpose of my presence here. And as they approached me, I fled for fear of being captured. I thought I would find help in the churches, but the voice said to me, "You must know that so many churches are not of God, they are centers of recollection of lost souls. They teach a way to my people to their own ruin, they cling to fables." 1 Timothy 4 verse 1-2. Now the Holy Spirit tells us clearly that in the last times some will turn away from the true faith. They will follow deceptive spirits and teachings that come from demons. These people are hypocrites and liars, and their consciences are dead. I took the road that led to the city center. In the pursuit of my adventure, on the crossing of the 2 avenues, I met a group of naked men, gossiping, having jugs filled with human blood. They had in their suite a man bound with rope around the neck like an animal, led to the butchery. These men were in wizardry. At every step they professed words of curse. When I looked again I saw that these people that were naked had horn on their head. There was a demon leading these witches. He was dressed in black. I saw that the demon that was the leader of these wizards was carrying a pot containing human blood. It was evident that I was actually in the spirit world seeing what normal men cannot see. I saw that these naked wizards were dragging a man that was tied all over the body. This captive was also bound on the neck with a chain like a dog. He was dragged like a dog in the street and he was moving in 4 legs. I heard him saying, "Oh my wife, you who are a Christian, rise up and pray for me your husband. These people have captured my soul and they are taking my soul to destruction. Please my wife, I don't go to church like you, but please wake up and pray for me. I beg you, mother of my children, bad things are happening to me." These wizards replied to this captive, "Keep quiet and shut up, your wife is not coming." As these horned people were dragging this man, I told them, "Now you gonna stop this, what are you doing to this man? You got to release this captive." The one who seemed to be the leader looks at me and says, "Pay no attention to him, let's move on." This demon and the witches ignore me and they move on dragging this captive with them. As they move forward I decided to follow them. I was telling them, "You gonna release this man." These people led him to a plot and in the middle there was a tree. There they hanged him. They began their incantations and the man lower part had become like a goat. They cried out for joy seeing that the man was transformed to a goat and they slew him, butchered his body and they share his flesh, and I saw them consuming his flesh, and they devour his all body. When I saw this horrendous scene I feared, and I ran away for fear of being devoured by these witches. Brethren, when you are exhorted to abandon beer, pornography and anger, but you are unable to detach from these sins, it is simply because you are in a spiritual prison. There are two kinds of spiritual prison. First one is called the first level prison, where people that are still alive are held captive. There are people living on earth and also in the prison of Satan, where they are in jail because of sinful life. People on earth are in spiritual prison because of sin that they are unable to give up because of the chains of servitude. In these prison, I saw that people were part animal part human, with shape like snake, tortue, lion, millipede. Brethren, when you die in the bondage of sin failing to come out of the first level prison of sin, you will be transferred to the second level prison, which are the cells of hell. The second level prison is for those who had died in their sin. You cannot leave the second level prison for you are already dead. There are countless men and women falling in hell. It's when the Lord showed me intercessors praying for lost souls, that I saw many people leaving the first level prison of sin. Brethren, when the devil see millions of souls falling in hell he does not seem satisfied, for he want more, and when he learned that 4 souls had entered heaven he will summon an emergency meeting to determine why they had entered, and he will come up with new strategy. This is the degree of the fury of the serpent that is fighting the church and humanity. When the Lord took me to the world of Satan, I was stunned to see a brother who was a friend. I left him on earth but he was in a prison in the satanic world. I was told he will die soon for the years of his life has reached an end. Many are here on earth but already there and won't last longer. These kind of people die mainly in accident. People say accident but it's a demon that come to take them. Those who die in sin are taken to the cells of hell with monster in their cells tormenting them. We are talking about the world of the dead, that we call hell. Understand that the world of the dead is like our world, but that world is inside a huge cave, and there are millions of caves in the underworld of the dead, which is bigger than our world. The kingdom of hell has the shape of funnel, for when the Lord came to take me to hell, I was dead and he transported me to the abode of the dead. When we arrived before the gate of hell, great flames and great smoke was coming out. I asked the angel that the Lord sent to accompany me, "Where are we?" He said, "This is hell that you heard about in the world. It is an evil and gruesome place where people that persist doing evil come when they die." I said to my companion, "There is so much heat here and I am hearing great scream, and great lamentation and continual cries." People were screaming and I was in horror and confusion. My companion said, "The people you are hearing are those who did not accept the Lord to walk in his ways, and those who died in their sins." When we enter the world of fire, I saw that it was a cave and there were many levels. It is a world where everybody was crying and screaming. These doomed souls were inside the fire and were persecuted by demon. These doomed souls scream for help, other confess their sins. Everybody was in torment, but it was too late. I saw demon of all kind. Some were like wolves, other like dog, other like serpent. There were all types of demon, one of them like human, but upon careful examination I saw that he was not a human, he had nails of beast. Another demon was 4 meters tall and my height was on his knee and he had long nails of animal. Since this world is in a cave, the place was really dark, for there is only darkness in the world of the dead. There is no light. I was moving in the light of my companion angel in the great darkness of this terrible world of the damned. I saw this 4-meter-long demon standing by my side having these long nails. He was really robust and a giant. He was roaring and shouting continually like a wild beast. In this dark world there are all kind of noises and roaring of demon. I cannot describe the noises of these beastly creatures. My companion said, "This tall infernal creature that you see is among demon assigned by the devil to torture the lost, especially women who put artificial nails and women who refuse to abandon vanity and the items of seduction. God children, be careful, hell is real." I saw how people were burning in the fire and screaming with all their strength. I saw demon butchering and mutilating people with machete, demon were hitting people with hammer and steel and wood, and you cannot imagine the scream. There was no one to save them and pull them out of these atrocities, and when people arrive in hell they often stand before the judges of hell, who tell them you are here because you have come to suffer the consequences of your sins and your actions, your way of life and evil deeds brought you here, we are not to blames. When we left that place and we arrived to another place where I saw another demon seating on a throne, he had the shape of a serpent, but he has wings like bat. I saw this winged serpent calling 10 demons to stand before his throne. My companion said these 10 demons are evil ruler that influence the world. They are high-ranking demons that are called princes that the devil sent to the world, and their purpose is to open churches on the earth. They opened evil churches and sect. People are stuck in churches that are satanic churches. They think they are in God's presence not knowing that they are deceived. The enemy makes sure that these people in apostate church are bewitched in order to keep them in these sects and to win their soul, in order to take them to hell. When people join churches like Watchtower, Mormonism, they become imprisoned in evil doctrine that stop them from believing the true gospel, and the enemy intend to keep them in these sects to drag them to hell. You can preach them as much as you want, but since they are chained in these prison churches, it will require engagement in spiritual battle to pull their soul out of the evil churches. Then my companion showed me 2 types of God's servant. The first were the true and authentic servant. They are called the elect. The enemy wage war against the elect to seduce them and bring them down. Sometime they fall, but when they realize that they had fallen they confess and rise up again. But I also saw evil servant who are false pastor. My companion said these are leaders that are raised by Satan to build churches. The Lord showed me that among them was T.B. Joshua, who has work for the kingdom of darkness to lead souls to Lucifer. The enemy gave them ministry and he trained them and gave them gift of miracles to seduce the mass. There are a lot of them in our country. They only preach people prosperity, blessing and wealth and life on the earth. They will never prepare people for heaven. They only preach what is temporary, instead of eternal life in the age to come. These leaders are worshipped in their church instead of God. Brethren, we need to pray a lot, especially at dawn, for our enemy is multiplying strategy of destruction against the church. I saw a meeting of demon where they plotted against churches and believers, for after opening many evil churches where he has imprisoned people in doctrine of demon, the enemy came up with many more projects against the church. One of them is arranging marriage. The enemy want to marry the believers with his evil agents, his mermaid, siren and lady of the sea. Many saint and elect will marry men and women of the kingdom of darkness. We must pray before marrying anyone. I saw men and women rising from the underworld. Already there are men and women coming from the marine world. They are handsome and beautiful and they look like us, but they are demon. But they are also people coming from the underworld. Today Christians are getting married to demon and giving birth to children. In this world that seems like normal, there are demon everywhere. They behave in a scandalous way, but the believer must walk in vigilance, prudence and fear of the Lord, knowing that this world is ending and will be destroyed. The evil one is multiplying strategy to lead the whole humanity to the lake of fire. I saw in this meeting of demon a list of brothers and sisters. Demon had wives and husband for every member of the church. The enemy have prepared marital partners for all the believers in the local assembly. If you are single, brethren, beware, for the enemy has wife and husband for you that he has prepared for you to marry. And I saw wicked spirit arriving to earth in great number in human form. The prince of this world sent them to marry the elect. Another project of the enemy that the Lord showed me was against the youth. He make them think that they have many years to live on earth, and they are free to do what they want because they have many years before them, because they have to become old in order to die. Warn them that people are dying, even baby are dying and toddler and teenager. They don't know when they will die. People are dying in their 30, they should not say tomorrow I will do this and that. They should say God willing I will do this and that. beloved, I died and left my body. I had all my faculty and my senses were heightened. Whenever I thought about a place I was there in the speed of thought. I moved in the speed of light because I was now a spirit without body. I saw many dead people wandering the city. Some were running here and there and crying for their body was buried. This was a new existence for me. Since I was born it was the first time for me to encounter this phenomena. I saw another existence. This world is not just physical, they are realities beyond our existence. This world contain unseen layer that we don't see with our eyes, for I saw phenomena that earthly existence ignore. There are so many unexplained phenomena happening around us. If God was to open your eyes you will be stunned and dread the unseen realities of this world. These wandering souls cried for their loved one. I met a naked young girl before their compound. She cried, "Daddy and Mommy, why have you buried my body? I don't have a place to go, that's why I stay here before our compound." I could not understand why these souls were wandering the earth, for I was taught that after death we go directly to the abode of the dead. As I was moving, I saw people doing satanic and diabolic ritual in the middle of the boulevard to cause accident. Other did incantation in churches to bewitch the assembly. Other did in the public bin to bewitch the neighborhood. Other were on the top of the tree. I saw a late apostle named Silas. After running to him, I begged him, saying, "Man of God, help me. Behold, my body stayed at home." When I was praying, he told me how he spent his life mocking God. He said he still had 25 years of life, but he ended up in this place, meaning he will be a wandering spirit for 25 years before going to the abode of the dead. And he said, "I am waiting for my fate." I said, "Big brother, if you're dead I don't think it's the case with me." Promptly I moved away from him. Then I met another wandering soul. He was a pastor. He told me I played with God in my life and began to exhort me to be serious with God. I committed abuse and made a mistake. I disposed the people of God the little that they had. What happened to me is that a woman in Europe heard my preaching and was touched, and she traveled back to Africa to meet me. She told me that she was initiated in the Japanese witchcraft called Mikari. My collaborator that received her saw that she had golden necklace on her neck, worth $6,000. The woman told us the necklace was the source of her power. She said she was supposed to return it to the temple of the Japanese order. However, when I heard that this necklace was $6,000, I took it from my collaborator and confiscated the necklace. I told the lady I will burn it later. But I sold the necklace and recouped the money for myself. 2 weeks later I fell sick and went in coma in hospital. I saw a wicked spirit haunting me. I confessed my sin to God because I knew that I was dying. Nevertheless I die prematurely, becoming a wandering spirit. My dear brothers, this experience has taught me that death exists. Man continues to live after leaving this world. These human beings had all their faculties of sense. We will have our consciousness intact as if we were still in the flesh. Our emotions, memories, our voices, etc. I could not bear this reality, running here and there. I even found myself in the cemetery called Kimbasik. There in front I saw a terrible event. Souls came out of their graves to sign the register of presence where a man sat at the entrance with a list in his hands, this in order to reappear in our world as human beings. In the form of skeletons, these deads touched the ground and immediately they transformed into a living being. Yet they came out of the grave being rotten, and when they transformed into human beings I saw that they were beautiful girls and handsome boys. Others behave as if they were coming for an expedition to captured souls. Then I saw a skeleton transform into a beautiful woman trying to stop a car in the street. The driver stopped and spoke with her. I wanted to warn the driver that this woman come from the world of the dead, but the woman looked at me with her eyes from behind, for she had 4 eyes, and she told me this business does not concern you. Then she got on the car and left together. Having stayed on the spot I continued to behold this paranormal spectacle. I said, "Who can explain to me what's going on?" These people that left the grave came to the world in order to operate in the physical world. Beforehand they had to register their name in the book before leaving the cemetery. I saw one of them leaving the cemetery. He took the sand from the ground and he splashed them in the air above, and turning to a physical man, he was dressed in human body thanks to the sand he had splashed in the air. However, I saw that this entity had become a very beautiful woman with a lot of hair. She was wearing tight clothes and holding a bag like an earthly woman. I saw this woman walking the street in the night, when suddenly a driver that was passing stopped his car in order to make advance to her, not knowing that she was from the world of the dead. In the meantime, these people from the world of the dead kept coming out of the cemetery and they were taking human shape, becoming physical. I saw one of this entity leaving the cemetery with a photo of a dead man that he took from a grave. I saw this man entering the photo of the dead person. Immediately he took the appearance of the person in the photo and he was exactly like the man in the photo. I was scared by this terrible phenomena, and I decided to run away. After moving away from this place, I arrived in another borough of the capital. Though it was late night, to my surprise, I saw that there was a market with a lot of people buying and selling. I said to myself, there is never a market in this place during the day and in the physical world, and where are all these people coming from? How did it become a market? I decided to go inside, maybe hoping to find someone who could help me get back into my body. Once inside I saw that this was a huge market full of people. Brethren, all these sellers and buyers were naked. I saw a group of people coming towards the market. They had cotton on their ears and their nose. I saw that they were removing these cotton from their noses and ears, and they were happy to join the market. I was in wonder. I saw in each stall they were selling parts of the human body. They were calling buyers to come buy. In the first stalls I saw brains being sold. I saw marriage being sold. The merchant said to the customers, please come to buy the chances of my daughters, I am selling their marriages. Then I saw a child come in and say, I am selling the love of my father and my mother, because they love one another so much that I want to separate them. I have captured their marriage and I am selling it, let them break up. I saw a man who said, I am selling the happiness of my family. Another said, I am selling my brother's work, etc. Everything was sold here, even people's health. I have also seen politicians who came in to buy people's life chances and people's stars. Brother, people's lives are sold without their knowledge. I shouted, what is happening to me? Where am I? My dear brothers, the spiritual world exists. If you are in the physical you will not see this. May God enlighten the eyes of our hearts so that we can see these things! I saw a child carrying a human leg. She went to a seller and told him, I inflicted my mother sickness on his leg. I am selling her good leg, give what you can. This seller gave the child a glass of human blood which the latter drank and went away. One seller said, I have captured the travel of my family, come and buy them for they will not travel. Another seller said, come and buy the marriage of my family that I have captured. I have captured my parent love, come and buy. They love one another so much but I want them to divorce, that's why I had captured their love. I saw a man selling his daughter's womb for he had captured the womb of her daughters, and they could not deliver babies. Others were selling people job and wealth that they had captured. Others were selling people wealth and opportunity. As a result the latter could not make progress. Maybe your wealth has been captured and sold in the spiritual market. We must understand that the devil steals people property by force. Many lives are sold in spiritual market. You can claim what was taken from you by force. You must take it by force. These witches and Satanists were selling people's stars in this market. I saw at the gate of the market two popular politicians of our country, getting out of their car physically, then they left their body and entered the market. The sellers were urging them to come and buy. The musician told a lady seller, the stars and chances of people you sold me last time brought about spiritual warfare, for the owners of these stars and destiny that you sold me were making claim to take by force their stars. But another seller told him, come my chances and stars, for they are not problematic. When I saw that this market does not exist in the day, very quickly I left the unseen market of the night. Wandering spirits. When I got to the general hospital I saw thousands of deceased souls. They told me, these doctors told our family that we were dead, as a result our body have been buried, they must do something for us. I saw two categories of people here, the physical men and spiritual beings. The physical men talked to each other and did not see me, while spiritual people saw me and we talked. As I cast my gaze away I saw a group of souls holding pieces of paper in front of the desk of a doctor saying, this gentleman declared our death while we were still alive. We are waiting for him so he can bring every one of us back in his family. I approached one of them to know what they were doing there. They told me, brother, is it true that you don't know what happened? I took the direction of the emergency room. There were doctors inside pronouncing a woman dead while her soul said, I am not dead. I said to the doctors, your statement is false. That woman is right next door. Unfortunately they did not hear me. The victim's family was crying, but the person and I said she wasn't dead. The family as well as all the people who were there could not hear us, so the lady said to me, don't be sorry for that, we are no longer in contact with them, we are in the afterlife. I said to him, if so, how are we still together with them? Without answering me, she touched my hand and we walked to the hospital morgue. We found many souls sitting outside. They looked sad, their hands on the cheek. The person I was with asked the question to the first soul, why are you here? She replied, I had an accident, the paramedics drove me here and the doctors did all they could but their efforts were unsuccessful to nothing. That's how they pronounced me dead. I explained to them that I did not die but in vain, and my family having heard the news buried my body. I have no place, that's why I stayed here to wait my day. The other said, I had a heart attack, the doctors ordered that I be admitted to the morgue. Once arrived there, the freshness woke me up, I screamed but no one heard me and I succumbed. After burial by my family I have been left here without a place. The other said, in my lifetime we came to the morgue for the exit from the body of my little brother, the evil spirits arrested me and killed me, that's why I'm here. The other said again, I was born in complication, the doctors left me in an incubator and there was an interruption of power during the night so I passed away. I grew up here, I don't have room and I wait for my day. In any case in this place there was thousands of souls. While she was questioning the people who were there, and outside there was a group of people sitting in the pavement preparing food. In approaching them I asked them if we could talk. They said, come brother. While explaining to them what happened to me, I asked them, where are we exactly? They all answered me, so you're new? Why you don't understand these things, we all died by accidents, come sit with us and eat. I walked away promptly from them without saying nothing, being tired since I had run all night, and looking up to heaven, I said, Lord Jesus, if I have served you, come and rescue me. It was then that I received a visit from the Lord when I saw a light coming down with speed in front of me. It was like the sun shining, like a rippling light. A voice was heard from the middle of the light that said to me, do not be afraid, my son. God chose you to be witness of the things you will see. Know that souls defiled shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. I am your guide who will lead you in the depths of hell. You will see strange things. But above all, let's hurry to the hill of the world to see how this world is corrupt. When I got up to see him, I saw the appearance of a man in the form of an intense light like the sun shining in all his ardor. In the midst of the light I could see the appearance of a man dressed in white, his eyes like fire, his voice sounded like the sound of many waters, his two palms and his feet were pierced spurting fresh blood, wearing a crown full of stars. On these words I got up. I looked at him and I knew that it was the Lord. That's how I started loving it. I had this joy to tell him everything I felt for him. My lips only spilled worship and songs of praise. He was so beautiful and perfect. In any case, he is perfection. I bent my knees in front of him and told him, if it's really you, Lord Jesus Christ, please return me to my body. For returning to my body is practically impossible. So he tells me, don't worry about this body. You have a specific mission to attest to these things that I am going to show you to the world. Holding hands together we climbed to the top of a hill and I have never seen such a mountain. At the top there was 2 seats where we were sitting. He said to me, carry your gaze everywhere, what do you see? I saw nothing at all except a darkness. My dear friends, since I was born, I have never seen such darkness until this day. The Lord said to me, the darkness of which you see is the world that sits on the power of the evil one. The devil has pervaded all layers of society, lifestyle. He pulled 2 pebbles white from the tail of her dress and puts it on my eyes, then asks me the question, do you see what is happening in this zenith? I tell him, I see the countries of the world entire. Beloved, I saw the movement of all beings on earth. the people of every tongue, every nation, tribe, etc. I could understand what was happening deep within men. When these humans walked, others were bearers of light and others of darkness. The Lord understood directly what I was seeing, and he said to me, "Those who wear the light are the people I bought with my blood. Tell my people that you must be the light of this world, shine wherever you are."